Hello everyone and welcome to episode 60 of the Atelier Nekozuki podcast. My name is Katie and I'm coming to you from Cochrane, Alberta, Canada. Welcome to all my returning viewers if you're returning, or to my new viewers as well. I've been very upfront about the fact that I haven't been recording enough this year, so I'm making a mid-November resolution. It's not even New Year's resolution to try to record every week. I will be trying to do Wednesday recordings, not Friday recordings, but I figure it's better to get it done than not, and then you'll have it to view over the weekend. If you are returning, obviously I'm in a little bit different location right now with the time change. It's just after 3:30 in the afternoon and the light downstairs is horrendous because of the houses behind us. It's actually quite a bit better up in our bonus room, which is east facing, so it's getting the nice diffused light. At least I think so. Let's see if I can actually balance the light a little bit better. A little bit. So yeah, I'm coming to you post show season. I am done shows until the new year. So we've been working on a couple different things. So we've been developing a basement, which is super exciting. Because my business actually needs to move all the space that's in right now, and it's going to be moving into the basement. Everything's framed and we're waiting on a quote from the electrician right now so that we can actually proceed with the building. We just had 3 weeks off. Dallas had 3 weeks off, so I took the 3 weeks off. But we did a staycation, and the basement was the project, so I had it was good to have a project. It felt really good to stay home, because normally this is when we go over to Japan or something like that, but it felt really nice to stay home. Now that doesn't mean that we didn't travel this fall, so I'll give you a little bit more of a rundown about that in chatter. And now there are a couple questions I have for you guys as my viewers, and this is a little bit of shop news stuff. Because I made so many bags for Knit City, I obviously have a lot of overstock, which is fantastic, because that means that I can post it all for you guys. However, there is a lot of it. So the question is do you guys want me to do a special episode where I show you everything that didn't sell in Knit City, or should I just post it all onto the website and you can view it there? I'm happy to do it either way. Right now I'm posting it to the site anyway, and basically it would be a special episode because I ended up making about 400 new bags for Knit City, so there's a lot of stock to look at, and it's taking a little bit of time to get it posted as well. Obviously that's quite a few photos. Most of them right now I'm taking 3 photos average, so that means that there's about 1,200 photos to take, just under. So it's just going to take me a bit. I will have everything up in the shop before Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend though. And that is the end goal. I'm actually hoping to have them up within the next 2 weeks, which is actually just before Black Friday. So I'm hoping to have them up within the next 10 days, I guess. And that brings me to the next section. Oh, actually no, sorry. The next thing is that anything new that I make over the next while will be just in its normal section of shop news at the end of the regular podcast, not a special episode. Just because I don't normally make that much in a week that I'll just tag it on to the end, and then if you want to watch it you can, and if you don't have to, because, well, I think you're all adults. I'm an adult, and if I don't want to watch it, I'll just pause it. But anyway, what was the next thing about that? Oh, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming up. This year I am still doing not a sale. The big sale for the year will be Boxing Day or Boxing Week. I haven't quite decided how long I'll run that. But Black Friday, Cyber Monday will be not a sale, which means that any cat bags that you purchase, like a cat print, will mean that a can of cat food will be donated to the Cochrane Humane Society. And that will be done just after Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so that the whole weekend goes through and you can do your purchases, and then I'll donate. The other thing that will be coming up is I'm going to do a series of blog posts about gift guides, so that you can pass those on as handy little tidbits for loved ones or friends if you're looking for any gifts, birthday or Christmas, or holiday. I know a lot of people are celebrating multiple religious festivities, I guess is the best way to do it, and holidays and birthdays are obviously still happen through this whole season. So yeah, I think that's all that there really is to say about that. Please comment either here or on the blog, or DM me across any of my social media platforms about whether you would like me to do a separate episode with all of the bags that are now waiting for their loving homes. That sounded really grudging, but there are a lot of bags. And I'm just thinking about how they're all in my living room right now waiting to be photographed. And that's not even all of them. They aren't all in the house. Or at least not in that living room. So I'm gonna have to bring the rest of them into the space so that they're in the forefront of my mind so that I take the photos for them. Alright, so let's go into works in progress, and I'll go into a little bit more chatter later because I haven't recorded since August, so there's quite a bit to talk about. One of the whips that you have seen before are the Crazy Bright Flormania socks. I did get them finished. Obviously weaves aren't ends aren't woven in. Oh my goodness, I'm out of practice. But they are done. I have one for me and one for Dallas. I can't get over how big a difference our foot sizes are. But I really love this color up here actually. I want a pair of socks in that color. These were knit on US 1 2.25mm needles as magic loop. I did them both at the same time up until I finished mine, then I finished Dallas's. And then I've got another skein or ball or whatever you want to call it of Regia Flormania in another colorway that I'll make for the matching non-matching sock. So I actually really like these. I really like the idea of it. Dallas is super excited about them, so that's always nice. The next item, which you have not seen, is I completed the Dotted Rays shawl by Stephen West. And this is out of Gauge Dye Works in the Tulips and Concrete colorway. It's their shawl, MCN shawl base. And this was my last purchase from my very first Knit City. So it was an end of an era because it was the last skein of yarn that I had that was also Caterpillar Green yarns. But I really love how it turned out. I am gonna have to block it because I want a little bit more shawl, or at least fabric. Obviously a hoodie is not the best object to wear a shawl over, but it's what I wear quite a bit, so it's got to work with it too. So I'm gonna block it just so that it's got a little bit more drape and body, I guess. I don't know what you'd call that, but drape for sure. Looks good though. I really like how it turned out actually. Was not as mindless of a project as I thought it was going to be, but whatever. Cast this on just before Knit City and finished it actually the week after Knit City. Knit City is, I think, probably the largest fiber event in Western Canada. And yeah, I came back from it. Actually, we went on vacation directly after that, which I'll chat about a little bit more in chatter. And then I got terribly sick and I nursed it for the week after the vacation, simply because it was one of those things that if I didn't, I was going to be sick as a dog for a month. And as it was, I was sick as a dog for about a week, couldn't do much. So this was my knitting project and I got it finished, which was awesome. Needs to be blocked. Then the next thing I knit and finished is the Aries hat. And this is from the ladies at Spin Cycle Yarn. It's one of the kits that I got at TNA in June. There. And I think it's one of the first hats that I've had that doesn't make me look like a dude. And I appreciate this because most of the hats I've knit for myself are not flattering. They look better when I have bangs and when I have my hair down. But the thing is that most of the time I don't have my hair down. Most of the time my hair is in a ponytail. So even if I tuck that up underneath, I still don't look like a dude. Because what ends up happening is I usually get male appendage head. I know I just said that most of us are adults, but I do want to keep it family friendly, at least until I start talking about books. But anyway, I really like it. It's going to be really nice. I haven't blocked it yet, and it also needs a faux fur pom-pom, I think. The photos show it with a yarn pom-pom, a normal pom-pom, but I really want it with, I think it needs a nice dramatic, like, pom-pom. I can't actually tell you about anything about this yarn because I've forgotten. I knit it with the yarn to the pattern because it was a TNA kit direct from Spin Cycle, and I knit it on the pattern size needles, but it's been a while. It only took me about 2 days. It's a nice fade pattern, pixely fade pattern, and it's Aries, and I will link it in the show notes so that you can go, and I'll give you all the information about the yarn and needles in the show notes as well. I really like this though because it's like nice and marled, and then it goes up through. I saw an absolutely spectacular shawl at Knit City out of Spin Cycle yarns. It's the Night Fever Dreams, and I really want it. There's like instant lust over it, but yeah, and it's really squishy. I think it's just going to like bloom really nice when I block it, and my floats are actually quite nice as well, if I do say so myself. I just wove in the ends on this last night, so I haven't trimmed them yet because it still needs to be blocked. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it, and I think it'll be nice and warm in Cochrane over the winter. So I actually did almost knit this twice because I picked out the cast on edge because there's more of this like brown color in it than I wanted. I wanted this around my face, and I also wanted it to contrast with the yellow more, whereas I found that the brown and turquoise didn't contrast enough with the like, yeah, it didn't contrast as much as it is right here. I really wanted to get more into the pink, but it didn't happen, so that's okay. Yeah, let's see. And then another I am halfway through a pair of socks. Well, I'm actually mostly done a pair of socks for Dallas. I have one more full set of stripes and they'll cast off, and I'll be done. This is Biscotten's C. Okay, those are the same length. Yee. Sorry, just had a momentary panic. Biscotten C Horty, it's the garden colorway. This was a Knit City purchase last year. They are pretty damn near matching. They should actually match perfectly. Yeah, they match. I almost didn't, and then I couldn't bring myself not to match them. So he's almost got another pair of socks. Like I said, one more full striping sequence, and then I'll be done. I might work on those while I'm in the chatter section. And then partial faux, another partial faux. I cast on and I have knit 2 sleeves and the back body of the Tinder Cardigan by Jared Flood. This pattern really reminds me of bamboo, and it's like striations in bamboo. This is knit, and also it's going to be so squishy. It's nice and long. I did screw up some of the decreases for my size. I thought I was a size under, but that's okay. I'll just make sure that I match this size to the front body, because I still have to knit the fronts. That's being knit on US 6 and US 8s, so 4.0 millimeter and 5 millimeter needles off a cone. So this is super cool. This is yarn off sheep raised by West Coast Color and Carding. Lynn, she's out of just outside of Salmon Arm, BC. She's at Knit City, so this is one of my current Knit City purchases. We'll discuss that more later. But it's natural color, and then it's spun in Canada as well. So I really like it. It's woolen spun. This still has the spinning oils in it, so it's going to, like, you can hardly tell actually, I think, but I think it's going to really bloom once I block this, because the swatch really bloomed. The sleeves aren't actually stockinette, they're going to be reverse stockinette, so they're going to go in like this. and then I have to seam everything. I do not normally knit. Okay, so this is different for me on so many levels. It is knit A in pieces, B bottom up, and now I'm gonna have to seam, which I really was not looking forward to. However, I looked at the pattern and I could not get my head around converting it to do, I at least wanted to do like flat knit in the round base, like knit the whole body, but I couldn't figure that out. And it would have also mean I usually knit top down, so trying to figure out how to flip that, and it was just too much work, so I just knit it to pattern. Although it'll probably take me like 3 more months to actually seam it together, who knows. But I'm super excited about the cardigan actually. I'm using stitch markers from Sarah Elizabeth Fiberworks with these pretty little beads to keep track of my decreases, both sleeves as well. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. It's nice and long. It's one of those really long bodied cardigans, or longer bodied cardigans. It's partly why I like knitting top down, is I like to be able to tell how long they are, because I have a really long torso and long arms, so it can be kind of hard sometimes with bottom up sweaters to tell if I've made it long enough for me. Normally I end up adding 1 inch to 2 inches. I think I even added 1 inch on this one and it's already long. So we'll see. Hopefully with blocking it'll also like block longer too. Although I think it's going to bloom more than it's going to like grow. So we'll see. Then I did finish something else. I guess I should have talked about this in faux instead of like half finished. It's only half finished. I still got to add a fringe. This is the Rose Valley shawl by Knox Mountain Knit Co. And it's knit out of Ancient Arts Yarns, Socknado. This is Cezanne, Still Life. And then this is Tranquility. I absolutely love how it turned out. I love how the garter stitch in here is super like, it really made the color, because like it's gorgeous here. It's gorgeous in the stockinette too, but I really like it in the garter. So I have enough left that I can actually knit a pair of socks, which is awesome. 2 skeins. Not much to say. I do need to add the fringe just to kind of finish that edge and to add some weight to it so that it'll drape nicely. But I've worn it already. I love it. I love how the lace actually blocked out. I wore it more like an actual shawl last time I wore it, but I like it this way too. And I think the fringe will just add that extra oomph to it to finish it. So yeah, right now what's on the list, I want to finish the socks for Dallas. I've got another couple like gift knits I need to knit that are secret, so you won't be seeing them. Oh, oh curses, I don't have it with me. But I did actually finish 2 pairs of mittens for sample knits. I released a couple new patterns. They're colorwork mittens, also out of Ancient Arts Yarn Stocknado. And you can find them on Ravelry. I will link them in the show notes just so you can actually view them. They're the mustard flower mittens and the whirling down mittens. And what was amazing about them is you can actually knit both pairs of mittens out of the 2 skeins of yarn, as long as you all like switch the main color with the contrast color. So the mustard flower mittens, the main color was gray and the contrast color was the yellow, the birch leaves. And in the whirling down mittens, the main color was the yellow birch leaves and the contrast color was Russian blue. It was the gray cat color. And it worked out really well. I really like it. And yeah, those were really fun to design and knit, and I hope you guys like them. So I'll post the links in the show notes. I think the next thing to chat about would actually be books. So let's do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should actually do. No, we'll do books and then we'll do chatter. Because there has been a lot of literature consumed, or at least writing consumed. I discovered the gloriousness of audiobooks. So I hadn't read for about 3 months, if you hadn't noticed. I don't think I chatted about a lot of books actually on the last podcast. And so what I did is as I was doing the push for Knit City, because as one does, I ended up listening to a lot of audiobooks, which actually worked out awesome, because what it ended up doing was making my work feel like leisure time, because it wasn't, or not really leisure time, like it's still work, but it took off that desire for more leisure time. So I was able to do something I enjoy, which is listen to stories, because when I'm reading out loud in my head to myself. So I was able to listen to those stories as I was sewing, so I felt more satisfied that I'd done something for me for the day. I don't know. It's a really weird trick, but it worked really well. So I got through a lot of books. Now, I will tell you which ones of these are mature. Obviously, I'm an adult, so the subject matter of some of my books are not appropriate for children. Obviously, that is up to the parents' decision which ones are, but some of these do contain explicit scenes that might not be comfortable for even all adults. All up to you. The first one that I finished on audio, this was through Audible, was 30 Nights with a Highland Husband. Now that probably tells you exactly what that's about. It is a mature novel, explicit scenes, by Melissa Mayhew. I had been wanting to read or listen to this for a while, and it was good. It's not sex driven necessarily, but it's no small part of it either. Then the next one I listened to was The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, which is a story of teenagers in a world where they are not the heroes, but all the hero actions are happening around them, these superhero, like supernatural beings. So that was really good. I enjoyed that. It was a really refreshing perspective. Dealt with some like mental health issues that I think need to be dealt with in young adult fiction. Now, actually, that brings me to a point about young adult fiction, is I just heard a new term the other day of new adult. And I think a lot of what I end up reading is actually in that category more than it's in like young adult or teen. I feel like young adult covers that age group of like 13 to 15-year-olds, and then teen covers 15 to like 17-year-olds, and I really like this term of new adult, because I feel like a lot of what I read is not really teen even, given it's what it's dealing with, or like it's explicit content or stuff like that, and I feel like new adult covers it. So if you hear me using the term, like, I'm going to have to start distinguishing, because some of what I read is that borderline. It's not adult, but it's not teen either. And I think it's a really interesting perspective, especially coming from an English major, where it's teen fiction is such a new phenomenon as well, and I think a lot of it's actually come from the fact that like we're the Harry Potter generation. So I think Harry Potter created a lot of readers that were looking for content such as like looking for books that aren't adult books. If you noticed, I don't read a lot of adult fiction, what would count as adult fiction, simply because it does not resonate. And even like the fantasy and sci-fis I find are generally too I don't connect with them like I want to, or like I would with young adult fiction. Now, I don't know if that's on me, or if that is a trend in the genres, or what. But, needless to say, some of these are new adult. And I would probably put this, The Rest of Us Just Live Here, kind of right on that edge between teen and young adult. It does not have any explicit themes, but it does deal with mental health. So I feel like it's probably more of a teen, but right on that edge. The next one is 100% a adult book. It's Highland Guardian, which is the sequel to the 30 Nights with a Highland Husband by Melissa Mayhew. I did go through a thing of just reading a bunch of them, because why not? Again, not super trashy romance, but not trashy romance at points. These were probably my two favorite. I did try to read some of the others, but I kind of lost interest. Do want to kind of go back and finish them, because they do have some of a plot line to them, and I think it would be good to finish it off. and it's not like they're hard to read. Then I listened to The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano, which is that teen new adult kind of line. I don't remember much about it, I just remember enjoying it. This is the one problem I'm noticing with the audiobooks, having gone through and written down what I actually read for the podcast, is that I enjoy them, and that's kind of the vibe I get, but I don't remember much specific detail. But needless to say, The Glass Spare was good. I do remember that. Okay, and then some of them did really stand out. So, An Enchantment of Ravens, older teen, by Margaret Rogerson, another audiobook. Absolutely loved it. It was a fantasy kind of fairy tale feel to it, and it was really good. Deals with the Fae, and it would be kind of that Bildungsroman, which is coming of age story. Then I listened to, this is an adult book, Shanghai Girls by Lisa C. I think I need to actually read it. I don't know. I really liked the beginning of it, I really liked the middle part of it, and then the end just kind of lost it. Like, I completely lost interest. So I really enjoyed it up until the end. I know there is a sequel to it, but I really don't want to read it. Whatever. Not for everyone. The next book that I finished was another young adult or teen, Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. I know it's been around for a little bit. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the narration for Dumplin', actually. And because that is a big thing with the audiobooks, is that it needs to actually like be good narrators. Because I tried to go in and listen to Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, and I just couldn't do it. So I am noticing that I do prefer female narrators, audiobook narrators. Although there are some male voices that I've really enjoyed too. So Dumplin' by Julie Murphy, and then I listened to Monstrous Beauty by Elizabeth Fama. That's another audiobook, and it was good. Nothing really stands out about it to me, but it was good. Another amazing one was The Queen's Rising. It's a very interesting take on the return of royalty, which is awesome. I really enjoyed it. It's by Rebecca Ross. It just came out. I listened to this one as well. It's actually one that I'll probably go purchase in hardcover because I enjoyed it that much and I want to read it. Then I listened to Beasts Made of Night by Tachi Onyebuchi. It's based in Africa. I want to say Nigeria, but I can't remember if it is or not. Again, so these are some of the details. But it's based in folklore, which is awesome. Or at least as far as I can tell, it is. It's a fantasy as well. Another male narrator, and he was really good. And the most annoying part about it is that it's a duology, so I have to wait for the second book. And then the next audio series I listened to, this is going to be a little bit out of order, but I listened to A Great and Terrible Beauty trilogy by Libba Bray. So I listened to A Great and Terrible Beauty, Rebel Angels, and The Sweet Farthing. And it was good. It felt very much, so I love anime, but I hate watching like slice of life animes because it's like, and they go on with their lives, and like, yes, and I get it, but I like resolution in my stories. And that is the one thing I feel like A Great and Terrible Beauty did not give, was a resolution. I feel like it's left too much. Now, a lot of coming of age stories make sense. You go on into adulthood and it's not like you stop living because you turned 18. But some just do it better than others. And I enjoyed this series, but the end felt like it didn't conclude anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not upset that I listened to it. It's a gothic story. It's gothic fantasy, which I really like, actually. And I don't know, it's just kind of, it fell flat at the end, but it happens. The next trilogy was another one that kind of was but I finished it because I felt kind of compelled to. I was so far in already. But that was 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray, 10,000 Skies Above You, and A Million Worlds with You. Interesting concept, multi-dimensional travelers that go through like different spaces, and then like contacts happen and everything like that. And so like really awesome concept. However, it was written a few years ago, about 5 I think it started at, and it has some of the tropes of that time that I've been driven insane by, like only having validation because a boy tells you that you have validation. And I think it's just, that's where it fell flat. Otherwise, I think it's a really good series. Those are both young adults. I would put A Great and Terrible Beauty higher teen, and then 1,000 Pieces of You is probably like 15 plus. Then I listened to Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor because Muse of Nightmares came out this year, and we listened to that going to Knit City actually, so it worked out perfect because we listened to it going there. I had a bunch of work that I still had to do when we got there, so we listened to it then, and then we listened to it on the return trip. I really liked the audiobook actually. I think that another male narrator, I think he did a really good job narrating the characters and all the information, and I really enjoyed it. And then I read Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor as well. Totally not where I was expecting the series to go. So I enjoyed it, but it's not where I expected it to go. I would also call this new adult. It's not quite teen, especially the second book. The first book, no, they're both new adult. Then I just finished a few days ago, but I just finished Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. And my goodness, it took me a while to get through because it's a big book. It's over 900 pages. And I was really actually kind of dragging my heels because I didn't want this series to end. I really like the characters in Throne of Glass. Now, if you've been watching a while, you know that I started this series a couple years ago when it was like just starting to gain popularity. And I really do not like her in the first 2 books. I think the 3rd book is still the like defining book for this series, which is really interesting to me because a few of the series had done that at that time that I was reading, and you can go back and listen if you really want to about me talk about it then. But I think this series really picked up in the 3rd book, so if you are wanting to read it, I found her really annoying, like the main character really annoying in book 1. Book 2 she was better, but book 3 and forward is just amazing. So really enjoyed it. Again, it goes into that new adult. It has explicit scenes in it, and it deals with a lot of like really dark material. Not really dark material, I guess, but like dark materials. So just reader beware there. And then, yes, I have 2 pages. Mature. I read The Raven Prince by Elizabeth Hoyt. Very explicit. Fairy tale feel though, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact actually with it because it's kind of a Regency novel. And it is not a slow burn romance. They're not gasping because they brush a pinky against each other. There's no doubt that there's desire. And I quite actually appreciate that because sometimes I'm just reading a book for the sex. And this book does it well. And then I've listened to A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. I listened to this on audio. Most of the audiobooks that I listen to have actually been through my library, so that I don't have to pay for them. But Natural History of Dragons, that series I'm going to purchase through Audible. So I listened to that one. I really enjoyed it still. I really enjoyed the narrator for it. I am currently listening to The Tropic of Serpents. And then another very mature, very explicit book is Release Me by Jay Kenner. I just finished that one. And then going into what I'm reading, so The Tropic of Serpent, I am currently reading Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe because it's been on my to-be-read list for a while. That's by Fanny Flagg. I watched the movie recently. I really enjoyed it, so I figured I may as well read the book. And because I've borrowed it through my electronic resources for the library. I'm able to read it while I'm like on the treadmill and stuff really easily, so that works out perfect. And then I'm listening to Given to the Sea by Mindy McGinnis. Now, this is one of those new adult books as well, definitely high teen, just for subject matter and explicitity of it. There hasn't been any like explicit scenes, but it's fairly crass in how it deals with some stuff. And I realized the other day that I had actually read one of Mindy McGinnis's books, I think last year, which was A Darkness So Discreet, because I was looking at it and I'm like, I recognize the name, and I couldn't place it, but yeah. So it's dealing with, it's a fantasy setting, and there's a girl that has to be sacrificed to the sea so that a giant wave doesn't engulf the land and kill everyone on it. But she has to produce an heir before she does so. So it's dealing with that. Again, kind of on that verge of like teen new adult. So definitely older teen. And obviously all of this is based on an adult judgment of technically too young for me books. And it's all reader discretion for what you would like your child or teen to read and what you would like to read as well. But that is what I've read since I think it's August 15th was the date of the last podcast. So I've gotten through a few books. And actually the Given to the Sea I'm listening to right now, so that I can get photos done for the website. There we go. Those are the words. All right. So if you're not sick and tired of me yet, I do still have chatter. Let's see. So I recorded mid-August. That would have been just before the final big show push for Knit City, which obviously went very well. Thank you for everyone for coming out. It was busy. There was a lot of really big changes this year, such as they completely flipped the floor plan for it. And it was good, I think. It's going to take some getting used to as a vendor, and I think it's going to take some getting used to for visitors as well. It's a lot bigger, guys. Like, it's doubled in size, and it flipped, like, layout. So I think next year will be even better. I'm really excited. I've actually already booked my booth for next year, and so I will be back. It is the first weekend in October. It's always the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I think it's October 5th and 6th or something like that. I'll get you dates as we get closer. So did that, and then awesome drive out. Dry roads. I had one of Dallas's friends come out and help me because I had a 20-foot booth again, and it would have been insane not to. And then coming home was a completely different matter. I lucked out very much. We came straight back on Monday. I was actually planning to do a 2-day drive, but I had enough energy, so we just drove all the way through on Monday, and literally it stopped having some sort of precipitation on the road for about 20 minutes between Revelstoke, or Salmon Arm and Revelstoke, and the rain had obviously gone through there. So we actually ended up basically, it rained from Vancouver, and then it started snowing going over Rogers Pass just outside of Revelstoke, and then it snowed through Kicking Horse Pass as well, from Golden to Lake Louise. I was so glad that I'd gotten the winter tires put on the truck, because like him and Hod, and like legally you're supposed to have them on your truck vehicle by October 1st in BC. So I went with that, and I'm really glad I did, because there was enough snow and it was slick enough that I wouldn't have wanted to do that drive without them on. And I got home. I got a text from a friend though who did do a 2-day drive, and she got stuck in Canmore for like an extra day, which realistically is not a big deal, except that it snowed so much here. It snowed like 9 to 10 inches overnight. So I got home Monday. Yeah, and we had about 10 inches of snow on the ground by midday Tuesday. And on Wednesday, we left for Florida for our trip down to Disney World. So if I had waited and done a 2-day drive, I wouldn't have been back in time to actually like get on my flight to go to Disney, and that would have sucked. So what ended up happening is I got home on Monday. I had a half day with the cats, and then I actually drove into Calgary, and we stayed in Calgary the night. Dallas and I stayed the night in Calgary because it had snowed so much, and our flight was leaving not stupid early, but early enough that I didn't want to make the drive on icy, gross roads at like 3 a.m. in the morning. So we stayed in Calgary, and then we flew down, and it was fantastic weather the whole time we were down there, and like super hot. It was 30 or more every day. We were only down there for 3 days, which was a really nice break. We were testing out our Disney Vacation Club like timeshare points, so we really enjoyed that, making sure that we liked our resort and stuff like that, because it's not something that I would have ever paid to go stay at before we bought points there. We own at the Polynesian bungalows, which I really enjoy, actually. I like the ease of transit to Magic Kingdom and Epcot, which are our 2 favorite parks, and I really like theming as well. So it was a good trip. And then we actually left, and a hurricane went over the Panhandle like 2 days later, so we couldn't have done our traveling any better than what we did. And given that I planned that trip like 11 months out, definitely couldn't have done any better. Sorry, I've dropped stitches, so now I'm going to set the sock aside so I'm not so distracted by it. And we might have a kitty cat visitor. So then came back, and I think given how tight that was when we do these trips, because most of our trips down to Disney will be in that fall period now, I think what we'll end up doing is we'll actually go down the week following Knit City. And just so that then I get home, we both have like a week of rest at home, so that I'm not going straight into vacation right after a show. Like, I have decompression time so I can enjoy my vacation more. And so that if there's any problems with the roads like this year, then I don't have to deal with them trying to get home. So this is Remy, Quality Control Inspector Remy. He's such a cuddle bug. He's a lover boy. You're right? You're a lover boy. You can tell he doesn't like being held like that though. He's a lap cat, I swear. And he loves me. So then Dallas went back up to work, and then he came home. He had 3 weeks off. We worked on the basement. We chilled, tried to kind of reset our diets. We're trying to be very mindful of what we're eating right now. We're both trying to lose weight, and it's working. So it was good. It was really nice to be home for 3 weeks instead of, like I said, traveling. We had thought about going to Victoria, but obviously didn't go. So it was good, because then we can also put the money towards the basement as well, which is never a bad thing. Yeah, let's see. I knit most of a sweater in that time period, which is nice. I finished the shawl first, actually, the Rose Valley shawl, and then knit the sweater. And then we did spin and yoga, and we kept up with our exercise. I did some meal prep this past week, and I've been doing photos for the shop. So I guess that kind of goes straight into shop news. I just actually signed up for a show in Airdrie, January 12th. I'll get more information to you next week once I actually look a little bit better. I just know it's January 12th. And items are going up into the shop. You can actually find them at ateliernekozuki.com /collections/new-items. I'll put a link in the show notes, because that'll be the easiest way to do it. And they're just kind of slowly trickling in right now, because that's the easiest for me, since there's so much as discussed. And next week I will hopefully have a little bit more knitting and some more bags to show you, or some bags to show you if you want to see them. Anyway, have a fantastic weekend. Remembrance Day is this weekend, so thank you so much to all of our veterans and those currently serving. With this being the 100th, like the centennial year of armistice for World War I think that that's very important, and I hope that if you have anyone serving, that they return to you safe and sound. And yeah, big thank you for that. I always wait until after Remembrance Day actually to turn our Christmas lights on and stuff like that, even though I desperately want to right now. There's snow on the ground, but I feel like that's a sign of respect up until I can wait till November 12th for that. Anyway, if that allows you a stat day, I hope you guys all enjoy your stat or enjoyed your stat. I know a lot of people get Friday off and some people get Monday off, so yeah. I hope this week brings you lots of knitting time or crafting time, or at least something to help keep your creative juices flowing, and I will chat with you soon. Bye y'all.